You can also just type them in chat. Okay, so for question 21, we're given a wheel and we're asked which of the following graphs could represent the distance between the mark and the ground as the car starts to accelerate. So if it's accelerating, that means that the distance between each of the peaks and the troughs is going to become less and less as time increases. So A is fine, B is fine, C is not fine because when the wheel rotates, it is at a fixed position, which means that the wheel is not skidding or sliding, so it would not be moving back and forth as distance goes on. So it's not C, and it's not D because the difference between the peak and the throw is not decreasing. And then between A and B, the correct answer would be A because it specifies that X is a mark on the side of the tire, not the bottom of the tire. If it was on the uh like say like here at the very top, then it would actually touch the ground. But because it's on the side, it doesn't necessarily touch the ground. So there needs to be a small gap. So the correct answer is A in that case. Okay, question 22. Okay, so for question 22, we're given a function. We're told that the equation is a over b, x plus c. So first we need to find the slope. The slope is increases by 2 and it goes right by 6. So that would just be 2 over 6, which is just 1/3. So that means a is 1, b is 3, and c is 2, because that's the intercept at positive 2. So which of the following gives A, B, and C from least to greatest? So the least is A, then C, then B. So A, C, B, which is answer choice B. Okay, question 23. Okay, so for question 23, two triangles, they're similar triangles. So that just means that if this is 3 times that. So that means this side length has just to be 3 times 5. So AC would be 15. And then we have to find out the perimeter of ACD. So this times 3 is 9. 5 times 3 is 15. And then for the last side length, we have to just do a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So that gets us 15 squared plus 9 squared square root equals c. Um, that would be the square root of 306, which is 17.5. And then for the perimeter, it would just be 17.5 plus 9 plus 15, which is equal to 41.5. So correct answer is C. I'm not really sure what you mean by that question.
Mr. Shlok had asked you a question in the chat.
Yeah, I know. I'm not exactly sure what it means though. What do you mean by that?
Maybe you can unmute him and then he can ask. Shlok, you can
Can you hear
unmute.
me? Hello. Anyways, okay. So I was asking, like, if you don't you have to add the 15th side and then the 5 side, and then you do 20 squared plus 9 squared equals to C squared?
Okay, so the side length of AC should be 15, not 20. The reason why is that for similar triangles, um, you have to multiply by some factor, right? So the side length from BE to CD would be multiplying this by 3. So the side length from AB to AC would be multiplying 5 times 3. So the side length of AC would be 15, not 20.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, give me one sec. Yeah, thanks.
Uh,
Also, if
24.
anyone else has any questions, they can always raise their hand and we'll allow you to unmute yourself.
Okay, so for this question, we have two graphs. We have a linear graph, which passes through the point 1, 3. So this is 1, 3. And then also it passes through 2, 4. And then we also have an exponential function, which also passes through those 2 points. So that would look sort of like this, where it passes through both points. And it says if the point RS is on the graph of the linear equation, so this line, and the point RT is on the graph of the exponential equation, which is they're both between 0 to 4, so x equals 0 to x equals 4. And S is greater than T. So S means the linear equation has a y value that is larger than the exponential equation. So that only happens in this area right here. We do that in a different color. Anyway, so that only happens in this area right here, where the linear equation has a larger y value than the exponential equation. So in that case, we know that um, the x value has to be between 1 and 2. So the correct answer would be B, where the R is between 1 and 2. Okay, question 25. Okay, so for question 25, we're given a mean and standard deviation. We're asked to solve which of these following is true based on these results. So there's a greater variation in distribution of distances in survey A, while the variation in distribution of distances is the standard deviation. So in this case, they're both equal. So no. Greater variation in B, no, they're both equal. The variation is the same, that is correct. And impossible to determine variation, no, we have the variation. It's 1.5. So the correct answer is C. Okay, question 26. Okay, so for question 26, we're given the global temperature was 4 degrees Celsius than the modern average. So the modern average is X and the ice age temperature is Y. So we're told that it is at least 4 degrees Celsius lower. So we have to take the modern temperature and then subtract 4 from it. And then we also know that it's at least. So that means that it can be less than that. So it could be like a lot colder than that. So in this case, the correct answer would be y is less than or equals to x minus 4, which is answer choice D. Okay, question 27. Okay, question 27. We have, we're told line L is perpendicular. So perpendicular means swapping. No, never mind. Let me just find this thing slope first. So in this case, the slope would be up 3, right, 5. So that's 3/5. And then for a perpendicular, you'd swap this. So it'd be 5/3. And then you'd also swap the sign. So it'd become negative. So the slope for the other line would be -5/3, which we need to convert into the other form. So to do that, we have -5/3 plus or minus some constant value. So this constant value would be the y-intercept, which we don't know, equals y. This should have an x. So -5/3 x plus or minus some constant equals y. And now, so this -5/3 can be said as -5/3, or it can be said as 5/-3. In this case, we're going to choose this bottom part because in all this case, x is positive. So so if we multiply both sides by -3, we get 5x plus or minus some constant equals -3y. And then from that, we can add 3y to both sides, and we get 5x plus 3y plus or minus some constant is equal to 0. So the answer that matches would be answer choice A. 5x plus 3y plus some constant value equals 0. This is minus, and this is minus. Or 3, this is 3x, not 5x. Okay, question 28. Okay, so for question 28, we have a line. We're asked to find the equation. So the first thing we know is that this graph does not start at 0, 0. So we know that 62 is not the intercept. So it's not 0 to 80 because we're starting at 140, not at 0. So if we were to draw the line back all the way to 0, this y value would also have to decrease. So in this case, it would be 32 because that's the only other answer. And then for the slope, we find 2 points. So I'll say here and then here, and we get the slopes. This is the height changes by 30. So 30 over then 80 to 320. 320 minus 180 is about 140. So that's just 3 over 14 as the slope, which is equal to 0.214 is the slope. So the correct answer would be 0.21h plus 32. Okay, question 29. Someone asked, why is the y-intercept 32? It's because it can't be, it's because, um, so the y-intercept is when x is at 0, right? So this, imagine if this line just keeps getting drawn back to the height equals 0, right? It would have to be less than 62, right? And like based on the answer choices, we can just tell it's 32. I mean, we could calculate it because we do have the slope, but like there's no point in doing so because that's the only answer that's available. Okay, so for question 29, we're told 1 centimeter of the model equals 6 meters of the airplane. So that's the original. So 1 cm equals 6 meters. And then the new model is 1 centimeter equals 3 meters. So the difference is 1/6 versus 1/3. So this is just double this. So times 2. So basically the new model is going to be double the size of the original model. So if the original model was 10.7 wingspan, then the new model would be 21.4. So the wingspan of the new model would be 3 centimeters shorter. No. They're longer. No. Uh, half as long. No. It would be double as long. So the wingspan of the new model will be 2 times as long as the wingspan of the first model is correct. Okay, question 30. Someone asked, how would it not be C? Um, it's because the new model wouldn't be half. The old model would be half as long as the new model. So, because the new model is, the 1 centimeter is 3 meters of the airplane, whereas the old model is 1 centimeter equals 6 meters of the airplane. So if an airplane is say 6 meters long, you'd have 1 centimeter in the old model. Whereas in the new model, if the airplane was 6 meters long, you'd have 2 centimeters, right? So the new model is twice as large. And this says that the new model would be half as large. Is that, oh,
Yeah, if you want to ask anything, you can unmute yourself.
okay, question 30. Okay, so question 30. Number of cell phones he sold in 2014 was 128% greater than in 2013. So in this case, 128% greater. So if he sold the same number, it would be 100%. But 128% greater means you just have to take this 100% and add 128. So that'd be 228. Because if he sold the same number, it'd be 100%, and he sold 128% more than that. So 228. And then we have 29% greater. So this would be 100% plus 29, which is 129%. So now we just have to convert these to decimals, so move the decimal point 2 places. So 2.28 and 1.29. So that gets us 0.29, oh, 0.29, nope. So 1.29 and we need 2.28. So 2.28. So the correct answer is D. Okay, question 31. Okay, so for question 31, we have 99 centimeters at 3 years old and 106.5 when she turns 4. So that would just be 106.5 minus 99 to get the slope. Should be 7.5, I think. And then we need to find out for 7 years old. So that would just be, um, well, we don't have a start because people aren't 0 centimeters tall when they're born. So I guess we can start at 3 because that gives us 99 as a start. So 7 minus 3 is 4. So 4 times 7.5 plus 99. That gets us 30 plus 99, which is 129. So the correct answer is 129. Okay, question 32. Okay, so for question 32, um, we're given a table and we're told there's 4,000 total. How many more white cars and black cars are there? So we have 4,000 times, um, so 32% into a decimal is 0.32. And we also have 4,000 times, uh, 13%, which is 0.13. So this is 4,000 times 0.32 is 1280. And 4,000 times 0.13 would 520, I think. And then subtracting the two gets us 1280 minus 520 is equal to 760. So the correct answer is 760. Okay.
We'll end the session now so that it's almost the time. Okay. We'll see you again next week.